Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. Phil Rosenthal is here with us. Somebody Feed Phil, brand new season streaming now on Netflix. Phil, nice to meet you. How are you?
It's great to meet you, my friend. How's everything there? You're all ready for Christmas. I see the stockings.
I'm ready to go. Less than 40 days. You know, it's been a rough year. Might as well get in the spirit, man.
I think so. What do you got in there? Do you have any treats in there so far?
No treats yet, but got a little puppy this year, so we're gonna have to add a little extra stocking. That's gonna be the
nice. We got a puppy too.
Christmas.
Right before lockdown, we got a puppy, and
kind of dog.
it was rescue, and it's rescued us really because we've had all this time just in the house, and we got to bond with and train the dog. Murray. Everybody likes the Daily Murray on my Instagram. He's getting lots of likes.
I'm definitely gonna have to start looking a little bit more at your Instagram, and I've obviously followed your career with everything you've done as a TV creator, and I've loved the pivot into the whole food world. So, what was it like doing this season and traveling to some really cool places?
We started with Rio and San Francisco and Singapore and the Mississippi Delta and Hawaii. Have you ever been to any of those places?
I've been to San Francisco. I can't say I've been to any of the other ones. So I'm really interested to check out the show and not only learn about the culture, but also learn about the food. I think that's the coolest part of your show.
I love it. And you know what's even better than all of that? The people. For me, the food is just the way to get to the people. And on the show, I know that people like the food. I like it. It's what I look for when I travel is where we're going to eat. Oh, look at this. This is the greatest little barbecue place in Memphis. Cozy Corner. Look, I mean, even you can call the number and order.
That's some good free publicity right there.
Good publicity, but I love them. And that's a really funny scene because I met this wonderful lady there. She's a great grandma and it's her place. And sitting off to the side was a young man of about 12, her great grandson.
Wow.
And so I called him over. I said, you want to have some of the food? Because they bring me, everything when we go. He goes, I've never tried that. I'm like, what? He never tried half the stuff. He just doesn't like it, wasn't interested. And that's one of my favorite scenes is with this young man at this place. Look at your dog. I see your dog.
Yeah, there's Maya. Maya, come here, girl.
Maya, you're upstaging. I love it. Hi, Maya. Oh, I wish I had Murray for you, Maya. Maybe I have him on my phone. He's downstairs, though, with my wife.
That's awesome.
But he's such a good boy. Here's my dog. That's the Daily Murray.
Oh, man. Cutie.
He's a Great Pyrenees mix. We don't know what he's mixed with. I think he's mixed with human because he's very...
Yeah, it's so cool to see how your dog kind of takes after you as a human. You kind of set the tone, and it's interesting with our dog Maya. She's a lover. Like, she loves going up to people she hasn't met, and then she'll see other dogs, and she just like kind of walks right by them. It's really fascinating.
That's interesting. Yeah. No, my dog is a lot like me. Likes to travel and eat.
There you go. I like that. So you mentioned meeting the people. Let's talk about San Francisco for a second. When you went there, tell me about some of the people and what was most interesting to you.
I happen to have a friend from college, and I'm talking about 40 years ago, who lives there. And so I made sure that I saw him. His name is Mark Nasser. And that's one of the great things about getting to do a show like this. You kind of can do what you want in a certain way. So I was like, let's have a scene with Mark. Let's go to the Swan Oyster Depot, and we'll have a reunion there. And we did. Have you been there?
I haven't been there. No. Next time I'm able to travel to San Fran, I'm going to have to put it on the list.
So the place like 100 years old, and you sit at the counter and you get the greatest seafood in the world is just plopped on your table. It's so fantastic. I mean, stuff like crab that they shuck for you. It's all out already on the salad. Oh my God. And fresh oysters and sashimi that they do. And oh man, it's good. And then the Ferry Building, you've been there.
Yes, I know. I definitely know the Ferry Building.
So you can start, like I met Alice Waters there, who's responsible kind of for the way we eat, especially in California, right? She invented this, or reinvented farm to table, this kind of thing. So we're with her at Boulette's Larder for breakfast. They make the best eggs in the world. And then twice a week, the farmer's market comes. So the whole Ferry Building is all food stalls anyway, and then you multiply it by 10 because the farmer's market comes twice a week, and then there's all these places. So we just go and just Oh my God, it's so much fun. I always make sure when I go to San Francisco that I stay by the Ferry Building because it's food central.
That makes a lot of sense. It's a good move.
We went up to Napa, visited my friend Thomas Keller, who's another one of the founding chefs of America, I think, he also responsible for the way we eat. So to have these two giants in that one show, that was something. But I also I saw some construction workers sitting in the back of their pickup truck with just eating out of styrofoam. I said, hey guys, I just said hi. One of them, I think, might have known who I was and started talking to me. I said, what are you eating? They said, you want some? I climbed up in the truck. It's in the show. And I ate with them and got their whole story and where they get their food. They order it from a lady every morning. And the lady goes around to the construction sites and makes everybody lunch.
Wow. It's really interesting how food can be that point of entry. And, you mentioned all of your friends over the years here. Can you just take me back, like when you're growing up as a kid in the New York area, like what are the meals that you remember where you're like, oh, I love food. I'm really getting to meet these people in my family, or, even these people I don't even know because New York is, such a huge place.
I got to be honest. We didn't have great food growing up. Both my parents worked, and great, delicious food or even good food wasn't the priority. It was what's cheap, what's on sale, and what's fast.
Yeah.
And we used to beg. I'm not even kidding. We used to beg to go to McDonald's just because we saw it on TV and it looked like fun, first of all. And of course, it's delicious. It's not a question of it not tasting good. It's just, we all know people, it's not the best for you. But we loved KFC. We loved all the fast food places. And I kind of grew up on it. It's amazing I'm alive. But that's what I wanted. And it wasn't until I left my parents' house that I started tasting flavors that I never had before. I never had garlic before I left my parents' house. Never had that flavor in 18 years of life. Never had garlic.
So is that a college thing or is that like a little bit later on? Okay.
It was a college thing. And after college, we also never went anywhere. So I'd never traveled, really. I went to Atlanta once when I was 9 for apartments. And then I went to, maybe I had one day in Florida. That was it. Now, 23 years old, I got a courier flight to Europe. And the top of my head came off. It was so mind-blowing to have, first of all, to see Europe. And with the, actually, hardly any money at all, the meals of my life in France and Italy, right? So that, when that hits you at a certain age, it's like the music that was playing when you graduated high school, right? That's going to stay with you forever. So this food thing, at that point in my life, has stayed with me forever because I see it as you're taking in the culture, right? It's an art form. You're connecting with the people and the culture. You're literally taking in the culture. And it's delicious. So it's everything to me.
You mentioned a lot of really important things there, and COVID-19 really throws an entirely different set of circumstances in there when it comes to food and the experience at a restaurant. Everything. So what's it been like for you to just take a step back and look at the restaurant industry and just see what's happening with food, not only here in America, but all across the world?
It's sad, isn't it? I mean, we're in the middle of a tragedy, but what we don't realize is that it will end because we're in the middle of it. But it will end. The vaccines are coming. We should all be careful until then, but the vaccines are coming and the world will be returned to us. Meanwhile, it's devastating to the whole food industry and restaurants, especially like now we're in a hot spot again, right? There's a spike. So they're cutting back even more on what restaurants can do. I'm so proud of the restaurant industry though, for pivoting and taking their side business of takeout and delivery and making it their main business. And, as horrible as this time is, we're in this golden age of takeout. So I would encourage everyone to support your local restaurants because we might wake up and they might not be there when this is over. And you don't want to live in that world. You want to support your local, not just restaurants, but all businesses, because that's our society. And it's your neighbors, that's their jobs. So we want to support them. And a great way to do that is keep ordering in, people. Can't go out anyway. So order in. It's fantastic. You'll see that it's been elevated, the game. That's all I can say, except that the government, if I could speak to you for a minute, government, bail out independent restaurants. This is the biggest employer of people in America other than you, government. So we need these restaurants. We need the people who work in the restaurants to make a living. We need all the farmers who supply the restaurants and all the other winemakers, cheesemakers, linen supplies. We need all of that industry. You know, it's the money that it brings in to the economy is more than the companies that you've bailed out, including the airlines and the hotels. So how about the independent restaurants? That's what I'm fighting.
Yeah, amen to all of that. And, you know, it's a really tough time. And, you know, a lot of people had to figure out, you know, what's my next chapter going to be? And that kind of makes me think about your story because, listen, Everybody Loves Raymond was a huge smash. And Patricia Heaton was on the show a couple months ago, and she wrote a book all about your second act. And she's in the process of doing that. And when I think about you, it's like you created these great shows, you figured out how to do this. Like, what was your process in terms of, I'm really proud of this show, but there's other things I want to do? How'd you think all that through?
When I graduated from the Raymond experience, which was 9 years inside this nice bubble on CBS, I found that the business had changed. So every time I tried to do another sitcom, which is what people wanted me to do because the first one was successful, I found that it just wasn't connecting. It wasn't they wanted a different type of show. And I didn't want to do those types of shows, to be fair. And they didn't really like what Raymond was. They wanted Raymond again, meaning they wanted the success of Raymond. They just didn't like my ideas, even though they're the same kind of ideas.
That's really interesting.
So I'm beating my head against this wall of show business. And after several years of that, I thought, if I'm going to beat my head against that wall, why don't I pick this spot in the wall that I would really love, which is this idea. This idea incorporates everything I've learned about how to make a show from doing Raymond, and it's in the service of everything else I love in life: food, travel, family, friends, and laughs. So that's Somebody Feed Phil to me. That's what I'm trying to do. I understand the structure of a show. I understand that you even have characters, recurring characters, like my parents, my family, and you have a certain format. And you have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it has a point to it. So that's just good storytelling, and it doesn't matter if you're doing a sitcom or a travel show.
You know, another great show that has stood the test of time is Curb Your Enthusiasm, and you got to jump on that one with Larry David. What was it like getting to play in that world for a little bit?
So much fun, because you get to improvise on that. You kind of get the gist of what the scene is going to be. And I love that it's flattering that they would make fun of me. That's what I thought. Oh, here comes that Phil. Get me out of this. Yeah, I'm going to give him the big goodbye. I'll give him the big goodbye, and then he'll think that I care about him, but I don't have to talk to him.
You were a champ. You played it off really nicely.
Thank you. I love doing it.
That's awesome, man.
Now I got to bring him on my show.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to return the favor now.
But he's really like that. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He certainly doesn't want to go. He doesn't even want to go to dinner.
You got to get him out of the house. That's got to be next season, right?
You know what the first thing Larry David said to me when I met him years ago? He didn't even say hello. I was introduced to him. I say, hi, nice to meet you. He goes, you think it's all right to throw gum in a fireplace?
You're like, who the hell is this guy? Who asked that question?
Every single thing out of his mouth is a episode of the show.
Oh, man. So when people check out the new season of your show, what are the most important things to think about? Because a lot of people can't travel right now. A lot of people can't eat in restaurants. What do you want them to be thinking about when they check you out?
I love this question because, like we were just talking about, we're in the middle of this tragedy right now where we can't go anywhere. So I understand you would look at the show and even I look at it and go, oh, remember when we could do that? Remember when we could go there and hug those people and eat that food and dance with them and do everything? Yeah, so I get it. But the end is coming, And so I want you to watch the show the way you used to watch the show, which people tell me this is what they do with the show. Watch it. I want to go there. Plan that trip. And plan the trip. Plan it for a year from now when things will be better, right? The worst thing that happens is you have to delay a little longer. But according to all the news reports that we're getting, next year seems doable. So watch. Go to Rio if you want. Go to Singapore. Go to San Francisco. Go to even the Mississippi Delta. Go to Cozy Corner, people.
I love it, man. I appreciate your positive vibes. Really nice to meet you, and congratulations on the new season. Lots of luck going forward, all right?